It's another weekend. Parts arrived. They're trickling in. I'm still missing a lot of parts, but this was the main thing. I can't start tearing down Noah's suspension without taking apart the coil springs, pulling the coil springs. So there it is. That's what I needed. That's been holding me up more than anything. Coil spring compressor specific for that Chevy 2. I'm a happy man. I'm going to get to work now and see if we can get the suspension off. Try to get the disc brakes going and the front end rebuilt. Well, we're breaking the breaking the spindle loose from the ball joints. I got my spring compressor up here, and I have it spring compressed, but I just can't get it past the upper control arm. So I'm going to break the spindle loose, lower the lower control arm, so I can push the upper control arm down lower, and then hopefully get the spring out without having to take all that boxing out around the spring. That's a slick little coil spring compressor though. It's well made. I already gave you a look at it. I'll show you another look at it with the spring installed in a little bit. Front end work, hard, greasy, not glamorous. Loose, get a bigger hammer. Well, it's a good thing I decided to change the control arm bushings and everything while I was at it. Sounds like the Russ Queen's Ford.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, you can hear your car coming half a mile away.
Oh, no.
And I certainly don't want to sound like a Ford. So that's coming off too.
Oh.
Getting close. Being torn down on this side. But when I do coil springs, I get the pucker factor, if you know what I'm talking about. But that spring compressor didn't do it. I'm happy with that. I'm not sure if I can do this one-handed or not, but we'll give it a try. I decided to change the suspension on this Nova to the earlier Novas, 67 and earlier Chevy 2s and Novas. The lower control arm, which goes here, was adjusted by turning this nut. And if you can see, it's an eccentric or a cam. There's a flat on the bolt. I'll show that closer to that in just a minute. But by loosening the nut on the back side here and then turning the nut here, oops, and it's sitting between the two flanges, the cam sitting between the two flanges, it moves this right here, the bolt, in and out toward the center of the car. Since I switched to the lower control arm, that's how you make your camber adjustments. Now, the problem with the early Novas was those bolts are a little bit loose, or you hit that man-eating, car-eating pothole, you know how it knocks your front end out of alignment. So I bought a kit. Check this out. Let's see if I can show you the flat. Yeah, there's the flat that fits through the eccentric or the cam. And here's the eccentric. Get it in front of the camera or the cam so you can see by turning the bolt. You rotate the eccentric. Anyway, the new kit has shims that fit this one-handed, that fit in there, and they're locked on each side of the flange, so that means the lower control arm can't move toward the center or away from the center of the car. They're locked in. Now you have to make your adjustments on the top side, the upper control arm, which is also a modification, and I'll show you that in a minute. But this is pretty slick here. It's locked in. That lower control arm bolt goes through here, locks the control arm in, and it can't shift at all. It's totally locked. I'll show you the upper side of it, upper control arm here, which has to be modified too, in just a minute. This is a 12-ton shop press. I've got it pushed as far as it'll go, as hard as it will go, and I still can't get the pivot pins, the pivot bolts, out of these pivots. 12 tons on there. Now, I can apply heat, probably right here. They'll pop right out. But if I had the control arm bushings in there, new control arm bushings, which I have, and the other control arm, I've ruined the bushings, most likely. I'm getting a little bit ill right now. This hasn't been a very easy job.
Glad your toe wasn't under there. You would be in an emergency room. Well, that worked by George.
One down, one to go.
I jumped when it happened. So it stinks something awful.
Yes, because it's burning that control arm bushing.
Shit. Well, you have another one to go?
Yep. One more to go. Then we'll
Ooh, it's a stinker.
sandblast this upper control arm, clean it up, paint it up, replace the control arm bushings, take the cross shaft right here, I'll drill these two holes out, replace these two bolts with 1/2 inch bolts that are longer, new bushings, new ball joints, and put it back together.
Yeah.
While I'm underneath here, I found some damage where a battery had leaked. It's on that inner fender, which I knew about that, but there's also some damage right there on that frame rail. It doesn't look too extensive, but still some more work I'm going to have to do that I hadn't anticipated on. So, anyway, we'll get started on this side. Finally making a little progress on the Nova. The disc brakes came without all the parts, so the last of the parts arrived Friday. This side's done, suspension's rebuilt, and I'm working on the other side. Okay, well, Rest Queen, you've been under this dash for about a month now. So is it finished?
No.
No?
It's been a nightmare and a half. All because of you.
Because of me?
Yeah.
How do you figure it's because of me?
Because you won't let me take the dash off.
Well, you'll thank me someday.
I doubt it really bad.
Okay, well, this is character building and experience in character building.
Yeah.
I'm giving you an opportunity.
It's a good experience.
Yes, and character building.
Well, it's doing something for sure. I don't know if it's good or bad.
Okay, well, keep on working, character.
I will.
Well, the Rust Queen called me over here and said, "What's diet?" Thanks a lot, Rust Queen. Just what I want to do, a heater core on your Oldsmobile.
If it's not something, it's something else.
If it's not something, it's something else. You're right about that.
As always, but you know what? You said it's a learning experience and it's good for me.
Yeah, but I'll be the one doing the work. I don't need the experience.
Hey, I'll be glad to do it.
Sure you will.
I'm
All
a real man chick.
I know you're a real man chick, but it's a little bit too difficult for you. A heater core is not a fun job. Alright, you guys are not going to believe this. She's in here spit shining screws. You got to be kidding me.
Before and afterwards.
You have to be kidding.
No,
Buy some new ones.
I'm a very
Detailed person, and I like using what came with the car.
You are out of your mind.
I know, but I'm very detailed.
Like I said, chick, you are out of your mind.
out of my mind over this car.
Wind it down. This has been a long weekend
Look at my mess.
You made a mess everywhere you go. You make a mess.
I know, but I know where everything is.
All right, we're going to try to put something together for you guys. Put some kind of video up because we haven't done one in so long. We're not making a lot of progress, but we're working our butts off.
Darn right I am. I mean, hours and hours and hours a day.
All right, porcupine head.
Oh no!
Until later. See you guys later.